On this all-new episode of Primetime Panthers, we sit down with the one and only Paul Maurice to discuss winning the Stanley Cup.
God, just to feel it, because it's not something anybody can explain to you until it happens. And then I have some friends that have won, and then now I understand.
Turning the page.
The players here will inspire you to want to be good. You can't be afraid to talk about it, but it can't be a part of our decision to how hard we're going to work that day.
Plus, we get you ready for puck drop on a new season and why the Panthers can repeat as Stanley Cup champions.
We've proven we know how to handle adversity or things that are going well.
We've done it. We know the challenges that you're going to face and how to overcome them.
At the end of the day, it's all about us.
All of that and more this week on Primetime Panthers.
Presser coming up. What whoppers are you giving the media today?
No whoppers. Get in and get out, that's all.
I think with Paul, there's just that level of comfort that went in this year. We were all on the same page from the beginning.
Panthers head coach Paul Maurice.
If I lean closer to this, will I hear you?
It's obviously far away from everything.
You didn't know I was able to do that, did you?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's kind of nice when the coach kind of draws that attention to himself.
How do you feel about the hit on Barkov? This isn't the Oprah Winfrey show. My feelings don't matter. Okay.
Hang on to it! Hang on to it! Hang on to it! Hey!
He knows when to push a little harder. He knows when he doesn't need to push at all.
It's got to go! It's got to go! Yeah! Just like that! Just like that! Jamie, you big...
He's a great motivator. He knows the game very well, and it's a pleasure to play for him.
Stay with it, baby. Stay with your game. Stay with your game. You know this game.
The impact he has in the room, the grasp he has on the group. He's got a great knack of reeling us back in, knowing what we can change, what we can fix, and how to improve, and that's important at this time of year.
We do talk about last year a lot because we should, because we learned a lot. Every round win felt like an accomplishment, a major accomplishment. This year, it's all part of the journey, right? There's 27 of you. Everybody's important. Everybody's a lead dog. We talked about courage and brotherhood before this game tonight. Third period was awesome. Outstanding. You're all brilliant, and I love every one of you.
Welcome into an all-new episode of Primetime Panthers. Ever since joining the Panthers, Paul Maurice has stolen the hearts of the fan base. Oh, and the players too.
Every single guy in this room worked really hard for this, but there's only one who deserves it more than... Yeah, I think Paul deserves the last spot.
A true player's coach, and it showed as he helped deliver the franchise's first ever Stanley Cup. We got a chance to sit down with the bench boss before the puck dropped on a new season.
Play a little hockey here, man. Let's play a little hockey.
First off, you thought you would never coach again, and then you answer a call from General Manager Bill Zito, and now you're sitting here as a Stanley Cup champion head coach. How much has your life changed?
Well, in some ways, in ways I never thought, but the truth is, after I hadn't met Bill, had a 2-day meeting with him basically down here and still hadn't made a decision, but when I got home, I had said to my wife, that's the guy that's gonna make me as good as I can be. He has his view. We think about the game differently, we think about players differently, and I think we're a real good balance with each other. But what he's built here, I'm like the guy that showed up on third base, and I want to be careful I'm not bragging about the triple that I just hit. It was a really good team when I got here, and we needed to change some style of play and maybe a few players, and then we put a pretty good style on the ice, and that's, for me, there's two stories. It's the players and it's Bill Zito. So my journey into this is not as important as those two things.
We're skating, man. We're skating. You're good. You're good. Run your routes, go hard, lots of talk, you're good. Breathe, baby, breathe.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself in this process, this journey the last 2 years?
It wasn't about the cup, and I didn't know that beforehand because I had said you need one, and you do, just to feel it. Because it's not something anybody can explain to you until it happens, and then I have some friends that have won, and then now I understand what that means to the people around you. Like, I love the game more now than I ever have. But that's not my personal story or my journey. The guys in that room are incredible. And that's why I love coming to the rink. So I walk in with a bunch of guys on my staff, and they're all experts at what they do, and they're all really good at it, and I don't have to do their jobs. And the players come in, and I don't have to pull any teeth to get them to go hard. Like, that's the challenge, right? Every day. This league demands so much by the quality of the other teams. The quality of competition is so high that if you got to grind your hockey team to play harder, and we did a little bit of that in the first year, boy, that can be exhausting. But when you come to the rink and your biggest concern is, I can't let them go too hard today because we've got a tough weekend coming up, that's a good place to be as a coach.
All business, baby, all business. Moving 5.
Speaking of the players, what do guys like Alexander Barkov, Aaron Ekblad, Matthew Tkachuk, what do they mean to this team, and what's the biggest way they impact this organization?
So now it's originally I would have said it's their play. Brilliant players. I didn't fully appreciate how good they were because you can't until you get on the ice with them every day and you see them over time. But that's not it anymore. It's the way they drive culture. So the first thing for me, Katie, was how would they test? I don't mean the results. I mean, how hard are these guys going to test when we put them on the bike and we put them, some of these tests are very physically demanding. Because in most places they don't need to. Like if Barkey doesn't test out, if he just gets to an okay number, he's still on the team. And we just won the cup, and it was only 2 months ago. We would understand that possibly. But they didn't, they tested hard, and they didn't have to. And they pushed themselves. And then, that's the first piece. The second piece is their numbers. And their numbers are better than they were last year, which means, yeah, they enjoyed the Stanley Cup. We were all part of that. But they had to get into the gym, and they had to work. In a summer where you've got people pulling at you in every direction, and you also, like the earlier question, you achieved a goal. You won the Stanley Cup. That's the time that you would possibly take your foot off the gas, but they didn't. Which just now kind of fires the coaches up. Right now we're going, hey, we got to make sure on day wing we're bringing our energy. We're showing that we're driving. It's not about talking about winning the cup again, but we'll have to talk about that. We'll get asked about it. It's about how good can we be tomorrow.
Time for our first break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, we sit down with some of the players to discuss what it will be like going into the season as defending Stanley Cup champions.
The makeup of our team is that, we play playoff hockey throughout the entire regular season, and I hope people bring us their best so that when playoffs come, we know what we're getting.
Keep it locked. Primetime Panthers on Scripps Sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. The time has finally come for the puck to drop on a clean slate. And with that, the opportunity to defend as Stanley Cup champions. We sat down with some of the players to discuss what they expect headed into the season.
What do you expect this season to be like as the defending Stanley Cup champions? Do you feel like you guys will have a target on your back?
I hope so. I hope we get everyone's best because I think kind of the makeup of our team is that, we play playoff hockey throughout the entire regular season, and I hope people bring us their best so that when playoffs come, we know what we're getting. I think if we can handle them in the regular season, we shouldn't have a problem in the playoffs, so I hope so.
Well, I think experience and confidence at that time of year goes such a long way. We've proven we know how to handle adversity or things that are going well, how to persevere, and it's such a fine line. It's small mistakes or small bounces that can lead to success at that time of year, and you have to be mentally sharp to be able to handle it. So I think the most important thing is putting yourself in a position to have that opportunity. That starts now to get us back into the playoffs, and really anything can happen.
We're a pretty similar team. Obviously we lost a couple of really good players, but we gained some good players, and
we just have more experience. I think every year, as you go in deep playoff runs, you get more and more experience, and we realize what it takes to win now. We know the challenges that you're going to face and how to overcome them, so we absolutely can win again this year.
Yeah, we have a same kind of team, same core, and the leaders are the same group of people. I think we got all the tools to do it again.
It's a long season. You know, there's a lot of good teams out there. There's a lot of good teams that they're gonna play extra hard against us. There's a reason why it's harder to repeat than to win it the first time.
I think we're gonna have a target on our backs. Every team's gonna be coming in and trying to dethrone us. You probably see the same thing with Vegas and Tampa in previous years. It's no easy games when you're the defending champs.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of hard work, investment in what we want to achieve here, a lot of trust in each other, and we have it here. We have it between the whole organization, and that's the best part of it. Like, we're doing this whole thing all together.
The team's gonna look differently on us, but it was the same last year as well. At the end of the day, it's all about us. It's how we approach ourselves, how we are gonna execute the system and the plan that coach is gonna give us each and every night. And that's what will dictate where we're gonna end up.
Time for another break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, more of our sit-down with Paul Maurice.
Those men are so driven that I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight because I know I gotta be good tomorrow. I gotta be hard, I gotta be right, I gotta be good at my job tomorrow, and I want it for them.
Don't go anywhere. Primetime Panthers will be right back. Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. It's no secret that Paul Maurice is pretty vocal in the locker room or behind the bench.
Good job, baby. Good start, Red. Good start.
It's pretty clear that the players love playing for him.
Hey. So wonderful for a couple of old guys at the end of the day. What a special time. Hey. You were brilliant tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, it doesn't define you, but it adds to your legacy. One of the best of all time.
Winning the Stanley Cup is an unforgettable experience. Perhaps the only way to top it is to do it again.
Stanley Cup Champions, big boy. Thank you. I love you guys.
We rejoin our conversation with the head coach.
At what point do you turn the page looking ahead to next season now that you have won a Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Or do you kind
of enjoy? For me, it was about the first week of August. I can remember the feeling. I don't remember exactly where I was standing, but I turned to my wife and said, I'm ready to go back to work. And then that's forward-looking. The players here will inspire you to want to be good. We are going to have a number of events, banner raisings, ring ceremonies, connections with other players when we do our tour around the league that were part of our team. So that's inevitable, and that's a good thing, and we have to embrace that. We can't be afraid to talk about it, but it can't be a part of our decision to how hard we're going to work that day. But the biggest piece to this, Katie, is actually how we face that adversity. So in each of the last 2 years, we've lost a game in November, and we didn't play very good, and we were on the road. It was a team that didn't make the playoffs, and that was a learning experience for us. This year, when that happens, and it's going to happen, that's the hangover. That's how hard it is to repeat. We're going to hit our adversity, and then we got to find a way to like it. So the lessons learned: you go up 3-0 in the Stanley Cup final, and you lose the next 3. There's some tension there. There's some pressure there. There's some angst. There's some adversity, and then you learn how to put your best game together and at least play the game that you're supposed to. The results you can't control, but you're supposed to look a certain way, and we did that. So we learned a whole bunch of lessons over the last couple of years. We're going to have to be smart enough to apply them and understand that none of that's permanent.
That's a battle. Stay in that battle. Stay in that battle right there. Stay in that battle.
Some new faces on this team. Just what are your overall expectations when it comes to this season, given, some key players not here anymore and some new faces?
We feel that we do a pretty good job finding men that can play the style of hockey that we play, and also doing enough research on their personalities that we feel that they will fit into our room, which is really, really important. Now, I also think that room's strong enough that that we can bring in, some different kinds of personalities. Actually, I think it's the strength of the room, and you know that. We've got a lot of unusual guys in there in a very good way. They're just different, distinct personalities, so we think we've done that. Our end goal is, if you can stay healthy, and nobody ever does, but that we would create a fourth line, or maybe 4 players on a fourth line that would become somewhat of a permanent fixture. We've had some really good success over 2 years, which means those players who played important roles in the fourth line, the Lombergs and Stenlins and Cousins, move on because they get a contract that wouldn't fit our cap. We'd love to have them, but good for them too, right? They hit a home run, good for them. So we'd like to develop that we have guys that come in and they solidify a style and a role and support the main group in terms of the returning players.
Play fast, play free, baby, let's go get it! Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy.
Now that you have won a Stanley Cup, do you feel like it makes you hungrier, or just how does it kind of affect the way you approach things?
That's a good word. Like, there is a hunger to it because nobody can explain it to you how it feels. And we've talked about this because I've got guys that had won Stanley Cups on my staff, and they had said, we want you to win so you know what it feels like. And I always thought that was a strange thing to say, and now I understand what they're saying. So if you look at it, Katie, from energy sources, when you hadn't, there's that striving, that hunger, that need. But in some ways, it's almost a negative energy, right? Like it drives you every day. And it is powerful. But the other one is the joy of it, the excitement of it, the purity of it. It's way more powerful. So, like, I can't wait to get on the ice tomorrow, right? Like, you want to get back. It's the players here, Katie. It's the players. I know that sounds like coach speak, and you're trying to maybe be nice to your players. That's not what it is. Those men are so driven that I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight because I know I gotta be good tomorrow. I gotta be hard, I gotta be right. Not on everything, but there's a handful of things that we do, and that's my job. So just like Gus Forsling looked like he lived in the gym for the last 8 weeks, I gotta be good at my job tomorrow, and I want to for them.
Time for our last break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, we sit down with some of the players and ask a very important question.
Now that you are a Stanley Cup champion, do you feel like it makes you hungrier knowing what it feels like to win?
Their answers.
When I was a kid, it was almost like, you win and that's all that matters, and it's over after that. But no, that's the complete opposite of how I feel coming into this season. Definitely want more.
When we come back, right here on Primetime Panthers.
Sunny in Edmonton, but they ain't got no cup.
The Broward County Board of County Commissioners has deemed that today, June 30th, 2024, is Florida Panthers Day! Yeah!
Look around, this is awesome! Considers you guys family.
Thank you guys for the memories.
Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. Some players are lucky enough to win the Stanley Cup once. Some are even luckier and summit the mountain a few times in their career. Regardless of how many times you've reached the ultimate goal, there's always a desire to do it again.
Now that you are a Stanley Cup champion, do you feel like it makes you hungrier knowing what it feels like to win?
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna feel great, obviously, the rest of your life about it. But at the same time, you wanna feel those emotions again. You know how hard it is to win, how hard you have to play, how hard everyone in your room have to invest in what you guys do.
The feeling of winning is the driving force. Competitive nature of being an athlete, you want to be the best, you want to win, you want that target. So once you have that opportunity to win once, I think it only drives you more. I think when When I was a kid, it was almost like, you know, you win and that's all that matters, and it's over after that. But no, that's the complete opposite of how I feel coming into this season. Definitely want more.
You got to do it again. Like it was the most amazing summer. The celebrations, just the cup is so cool, and it's just such a special feeling every time you're able to lift it and touch it.
You grow up your whole life and winning the Stanley Cup is just a dream, and you don't really think it's ever going to happen no matter how far you get. And you play your first few years in the league and you're like, oh, I've got time, like maybe one day. And then as it goes on, you're like, whoa, this is, I didn't make it out of the first round up until last year. So the dream is always win the Stanley Cup, and then you win it, and it is above and beyond anything you could have ever dreamt of. So getting that feeling again is almost like an addiction. You want to have that feeling.
You dream about it your whole life. You don't really know what it's going to be like, but I think the most important thing was making it all the way there and not winning. So, I think it's that belief that you have what it takes to get there. I think that's what we built up last year. So it's new challenges for sure that we're going to have to work through and learn through going into this year.
Definitely just makes you so much hungrier and so much more experienced, and know what it takes to kind of get back there and do it again. And this group, we play so well together, so hopefully we can do it again. It's not going to be easy though.
Going into this season, I feel blessing that time here. I have opportunity to put my pads on and compete for the dream again. And I'm looking forward. We have a great group of guys. It's a privilege to be their goalie, and I'm excited about it.
That will do it for this week on Primetime Panthers. Make sure to tune in next week as we catch up with some of the players after receiving their championship rings. Until then, Panthers faithful, the new season is finally here, and it's time to lock it in.